Hi everyone, welcome to the MindFit program brought to you by Home Care Assistance. I'm Michelle and I'm so glad that you joined us for our second virtual MindFit. MindFit is part of our balanced care method at Home Care Assistance, which is a group of 5 areas that we focus on to ensure and promote healthy aging. So today we're going to be focusing on the area of cognitive stimulation, which means keeping our brains healthy, active, stimulated, and thinking in new and different ways. So today we've got 5 exercises: alphabet soup, quiz 100, what's that image, timeline twist, and words in words. All right, so our first exercise is called alphabet soup, and it's kind of just like what it sounds. We're going to be going through each letter of the alphabet in a certain topic and trying to come up with answers for each one. So our topic today is words related to weather. And you can get pretty creative with this. So a couple of ideas that come to mind, for example, if we start with the letter A, atmosphere. For B, you could have breezy or blustery. Blue, you could use colors to describe what the weather looks like. So we'll go through each letter of the alphabet on this topic and see what you can come up with. And I'll give you a little bit of time. So you might want to grab a scrap piece of paper and you can write A through Z on the side. And if you're working with a partner, see which ones you can fill in. So we've got a couple other pictures up on the screen just to give you some clues or hints. Definitely thinking of cold for our C for that top left picture. That reminds me of my days in Boston. So we've got cold, cloudy would be another good one for C. And I'll give you a little bit of time to see what you can come up with on your own. Of course, I'm here in sunny San Diego, so some of these are a little bit foreign to us here. All right, so again, our topic is words related to weather. And I'll put a few up on the screen here. So we've got cold. How about for D, if it's wet outside, you might use this word to describe damp. You can jump around a little bit, however you want to approach this is fine. You might talk about a specific weather event. Like a tornado. Add in rain down here. We saw that in the first picture. So in one of the groups that I lead, we have a joke about the letter U, and there's one object that seems to fit no matter what our list is. So can anyone think of a U that starts with, or a word that starts with a U for words related to weather? This is an object you might use. If you were thinking umbrella, I was thinking that too. All right, so I'm going to put up a list of answers. They could be the same or different than yours. So if you're still working on it, you can pause. But here's our list of answers that we came up with. And you'll see we don't have a Q or a Y for this one, so or an X. If you came up with something, send it in and we'll add it. Okay, we've got one more alphabet soup. And this one is items found in your garage. So we're thinking of all the things that you could possibly, this could really be almost anything, depending on the size of your garage and how neat you are. I know we did this in a group somewhat recently, and we were stuck on J, and we came up with this one. You can tell we got a little bit desperate, but we did come up with a better one afterwards, which was junk. And I'm going to move on to our answers now, but if you want to pause and spend a little bit more time with this one, go ahead. So quite a few good ones there. And it looks like we have one for each letter. Again, you can find almost anything in your garage. Zippers might be a little bit of a stretch on this one. All right, so we're going to move on to our next exercise, which is Quiz 100. So if you were with us last week, this is a staple of the MindFit program because you can come up with lots of really good answers. We're going to give you the top 5 to the question, but see what you can come up with on your own. So an example would be name something that might break. Something that might break. And I can think of, unfortunately, a bone might break. You might break a bone. You might break see if anybody can guess that one. We'll do a little bit of Pictionary here. This one is bread. You can break bread. And I think we did this one last week. You could have a broken heart. So an example of how Quiz 100 works. All right, the first question is name something that travels at high speeds. And obviously they're giving you a little bit of a clue here in the picture. What else travels at high speeds other than jets? Something that travels at high speeds. And this could be, I think there's at least 1 or 2 animals on the list, several things related to transportation, and a few things that are a little bit more abstract. Something that travels at high speeds. I'm curious what you're coming up with. All right, I'm going to go on to the answer. Okay, so our list is plane, jet, cheetah, light, rocket, and information. It's a good one. The next question is name something you might dig up. Name something you might dig up. And it looks like in our clue, they're digging up some dirt, but who knows what's in that dirt. So think of something that you might dig up. I know a lot of people are doing gardening and working on their landscaping as we're staying close to home these days. Definitely doing some digging up. Something you might dig up. See what we've got. All right, so the answers we've got are dirt, treasure, information, bones, and precious metals. So I'm wondering if you've dug up any of these things before. Dirt, treasure, information, bones, and precious metals. Okay, name a play by Shakespeare. Name a play by Shakespeare. And many of these answers are just a single word. So he had a decent number of his plays were just single word titles. Many of them contain someone's name. And I believe the top answer is an answer about a pair of star-crossed lovers. This was a play made into multiple movies. All right, let's see what we came up with. Okay, we've got Romeo and Juliet, Hamlet, Macbeth, Julius Caesar, and The Tempest. The next question is, name something that adults have trouble sharing. Name something that adults have trouble sharing. Think of some things that might spark conflict amongst in your household or with your spouse or partner. What do you have trouble sharing? Some of these are lighthearted, and some of these are a little bit heavier. Name something that adults have trouble sharing. I can think of one thing that as we're staying home more, we're definitely all doing a lot more of this for entertainment, and you might get in a conflict with your household members over what you're watching. What might you have trouble sharing? Let's see what the answers are. We've got sharing their thoughts, sharing credit for something, sharing money, sharing the television remote, or sharing their feelings. Our next question is, name a kind of bell. Name a kind of bell. The picture clue is a type of bell, one specific bell that's been around for quite some time. And this bell lives permanently in Philadelphia. That would be the Liberty Bell. I'm wondering if anybody out there has seen the Liberty Bell in person. I know I have, growing up in Pennsylvania. What other kind of bells might you hear, and for what occasion? Some of these bells reside in buildings. And a lot of these bells were originally used and functional in marking the start or end of an event before everybody had cell phones with alerts or alarms. Okay, let's check out the answers. We've got a doorbell We still use those today. A Liberty Bell, a church bell, wedding bells, a school bell, and jingle bells. Name something that melts. That's our next question. Name something that melts. And we've got an object on the left side of the screen that certainly melts quickly. An ice cube there. How about something else that melts? We've got at least one other food item that you would consume that melts. A lot of recipes may call for melted blank. Give you a little bit more of a clue. Another answer would be something that you might have on your dining room table or maybe on your mantle that gives off light. All right, let's check out our answers. The answers are ice, snow, butter, wax, and your heart. Okay, so we're going to move on to our next exercise, which is called What's That Image? And I'm going to show you a magnified image on the screen, and using the colors, textures, and shapes, our goal is to come up with what that object might be. So here's an example. We've got the image in the center of the screen here, and it's white and red. Looks like there's a lacing going on. See if you can guess what that one is. And I'll put up the answer. That one is a baseball. So that's how What's That Image works. All right, so we've got our next one. What's that image? I'll give you a clue on this one. This is something that you would eat. Something that you would eat. Grows in nature. And if you need a little bit more time throughout these, you want to zoom in, feel free to hit pause. And I'll let you know when I'm going to go on to the answers. So let's see what this one is. This is raspberries. All right, what is this image? In this one, the color is of significance. So it's a large object that is yellow in color. This is something you might see out when you're driving, especially in the morning or late afternoon. Although we're probably not seeing too much of it lately. Okay, and our answer is, it is the grill on a school bus. Next image. This is something we keep in our homes and we encounter multiple times a day. Specifically, this would be found in your bathroom. All right, and here it is. It's a toothbrush. Okay, and this is an item with a lot of texture. It's kind of yellowish green in color. This is also something that you would eat, although you don't eat this part of it. Something that grows in nature. This one's a little tricky. It's very zoomed in. All right, and our answer is, this is a cantaloupe. Okay, we've got something that we all probably use every day. Maybe not this color. This might be used more by a teacher. All right, any guesses? We've got a red ballpoint pen tip. Here's another image for us. This one has a lot to do with the color and the markings, how they're arranged. This is something you might have outside of your home. And the answer is, it is a thermometer. All right, next one. This is something that we all have this in our home. Although the type is changing a little bit, so they might not look like this anymore. This is a one component of something. We probably have many of these throughout your home. It's got a very essential purpose, and they're used more in the daytime than at nighttime. All right, if you guessed a light bulb, you are correct. That is the center part of the light bulb. Okay, we've got one or two more, and this one we're looking at a piece of equipment. Many of us now use our phones to replace this piece of equipment. And there's a little bit of a hint if you can read the lettering. It says F-U-J. If you guessed a camera lens or a camera, you got it. All right, so our last what's that image is on our left side of the screen here. And we're looking at something that's very small in size. You'd find this outside. This is a type of animal. And the clue is really in the color and markings here. So we've got kind of a reddish orange and some black circles there. This is an insect. And if you guessed a ladybug, you are correct. Okay, we're going to move on to timeline twist. So our goal is to order 3 events from earliest to most recent. For example, if we were looking at these 3 items, we've got Star Wars, the Peace Corps, and the Singer sewing machine. Which of these came out first? And in what order? So The correct order here would be the Singer sewing machine in 1851. The Peace Corps was established in 1961, and Star Wars was 1977. So you don't have to have the exact year, although if you know it, you could write it down. This is more about just thinking about when these things happened and trying to put them on a timeline of which might come first and which might come last. Our first three events are gold is discovered in California, the first minimum wage is set at 25 cents per hour, and Ford Motor Company is formed. So we're looking for which one of those events happened first and which one happened most recently. All right, so the earliest event out of these three was in 1848, gold was discovered in California. In 1903, Ford Motor Company was formed, and the first minimum wage was set at 25 cents per hour, which makes me think of my first job as a babysitter. I think I made about $4 an hour. So I'm wondering, for everyone out there, what was your first job and what did you make per hour, if you can remember back to those days? It's interesting to hear about. All right, another three events. The first, telephone is installed in the White House. Hawaii becomes a state and the UN is established. Which one of these happened first and which one happened most recently? And order those three. Two of them are fairly close, and there's one that happened much earlier. All right, so the first one was the telephone being installed in the White House in 1877. The phone number for the telephone was 1. And in 1945, the UN was established, and Hawaii became a state in 1959. All right, our next one, three events. The Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. The dystopian novel 1984 is published, and the Statue of Liberty is dedicated. So we're kind of all over the board on these. Think about which may have happened first and which happened most recently. All right, so in 1886, the Statue of Liberty was dedicated. 1984 was not written in 1984, it was written in 1949 by George Orwell. And the Beatles released their 8th studio album in 1967. Okay, we've got two more timeline twists. Our three events are Sesame Street premieres. Sandra Day O'Connor becomes the first woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, and the 26th Amendment is ratified, allowing 18-year-olds to vote. Some of the context clues here. The 26th Amendment was largely pushed by the student movement, and it was happening during the time of Vietnam. All right, so our first event was Sesame Street in 1969. The 26th Amendment was 1971. and Sandra Day O'Connor was in 1981. All right, our last timeline twist. The first Super Bowl is played. Rosa Parks incites the Montgomery bus boycott, and the Golden Gate Bridge is completed in San Francisco. What is the order of these three events from earliest to most recent? Okay, so our earliest event was the Golden Gate Bridge in 1937. Rosa Parks, the Montgomery bus boycott was in 1955, and the first Super Bowl was played in 1967. The Green Bay Packers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay, our last exercise for today is called Words in Words. Our goal is to find as many words as we can that are hidden in the following words. And the letters should not be rearranged on this one. So we're just looking for the words that exist as is. For example, the word red, or edit, or it in the word credit. Okay, here's our next three words. All right, so if we start with clear, we've got the word leer and ear. In shiny, we have the words shin, high, and in. And I may have missed some, so if you see any other ones, feel free to let me know. How about tablet? What words do you see in the word tablet? I see tab, let, and able. Okay, we've got some longer words here. How about an interesting? What words do you see? Interest, a few smaller words, in, rest, but at the end here, something that a bumblebee might do. Sting, tin, and in. All right, moving on to sublime. We've got sub, and lime. How about fortunate? We've got fort, for, tuna, 8, and at. Our last words and words exercises are homeowner. We've got home, owner, own. What else do people see in this one? Something related to a cat. Got meow. All right, our next one is dandelion, and we've got the word and, jelly, lion, and ion. Okay, and our last word is prevention. We've got Eve, event, vent, and ion. And again, there might be some that I missed in there. All right, let's move on. With that, we are finished with all of our cognitive stimulation exercises for today. Thank you so much. I hope you got a great mind fitness workout and came up with some good answers. One of the other areas that we focus on with our balanced care method is sense of calm and purpose. Trying to reduce our stress level is also good for our mind and our bodies. And one way that you can do that is by trying a breathing exercise. So a simple breathing exercise is called square breathing. And the way that you do square breathing is you simply inhale and exhale as you're thinking about moving along the sides of a square. So each part of your breath is one side of the square. And we can do a little demonstration here. So I'm going to inhale, and I'm going up. And you can either trace your breath with your finger, or you can just do it mentally in your mind, thinking about each side of the square as you exhale. And there's lots of different ways to do breathing exercises. It's a great way to focus your mind if you're also adding an imagery component like square breathing. And it can help reduce your stress level, promote better health outcomes. If you're interested in more tips and ideas for taking care of yourself, especially during these times, you can check out our Home Care Assistant Self-Care Guide. And this is especially good too if you're caring for other people during this time. You need to especially focus on taking care of yourself. And we've also got our Home Care Assistant Enrichment Guide, which gives you some additional activities and exercises that you can do outside of the MindFit program. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to reach out to me. It's been great being with you today. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Take care.